Welcome everybody back to the Too Late Show, specifically an episode of Spooky Skeletons. Look at this guy, look at him. Zooming over there on him. I'm not cutting that out. He's so happy.
I'm so happy to be back.
It's only been 3 years, 2 years, something like that. It's been a long time. What you been up to, Clint?
Working.
He's been working. He's been working really hard. He's been thinking a lot. He's my main thinker. He's a big thinking guy. I just give him a bunch of, I give him a list and he thinks. He just thinks about the list. Today, though, we're doing an episode of the Spooky Skeletons show, podcast. It's not really a fucking show or a podcast, either of those things, but it is something that people ask for all the time. How about these papers standing up like that? No hands. How's that even fucking possible right there, dude? How about that? Show, it's back. Today we're talking about the disappearance of Aaron Hedges, a missing persons case that actually this guy over here, we've talked about it before. If you want to point at him, look at him. He's just so happy. Just so happy.
I'm just happy to be involved.
He's just happy to be fucking involved, dude, and it's just beautiful.
I miss this.
I know, it's fun. We did 3 episodes, and they all have like 600, 700,000 views somehow. I mean, I know why. But they're good, it's good content, and today we're talking about the vanishing of Aaron Hedges. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. All right, you have your papers? Everything in brackets you read.
Yes, sir.
And I'm the narrator, all right? We have it's pretty good. The writing is impeccable on this channel. All right, go ahead, you start.
Atmospheric wilderness sounds fade in. Wind through trees. Distant birds call.
Caw! Caw!
Narrator?
The mountains have always kept their secrets, ancient sentinels of stone and forest that stand watch over a world increasingly mapped, tracked, and known. But there are places where the wilderness still holds dominion, ellipses. Places where even the most experienced outdoorsman can vanish without a trace. The crazy mountains of Montana are such a place.
Sound effect. Radio static. Then a voice. I've missed the trail. Heading north toward our cache. Might not make it back tonight.
Those are the last words anyone would hear from Aaron Hedges, a 38-year-old experienced bow hunter from Bozeman, Montana, who stepped into the wilderness on September 7th, 2014, and somehow stepped out of reality itself. That's pretty crazy.
That is wild.
That kind of goes hard a little bit.
What happened? What happened?
Well, let's get into it. We'll get into what happened, but first we have some
music builds. Tense atmosphere.
What should have been a routine hunting expedition with friends transformed into one of the most baffling. Which should have been a routine hunting by the way, we're not doing edits on this channel, which is like the best thing ever, I think. Which should have been a routine hunting expedition with friends transformed into one of the most baffling disappearances in modern wilderness history. A case that defies logical explanation, leaving us to wonder if the mountains themselves conspired to claim him. I don't think so.
It was the mountains themselves?
Yeah, that's what's written on this page. I think that might be bullshit, though. That might be bullshit. The crazy mountains earn their name for a reason. Rising abruptly from the Montana plains, the isolated range creates its own weather and its own rules. Jagged summits, dense forests, and steep ravines form natural labyrinths where distances become distorted and familiar landmarks shift with the shadows. I should probably look up a picture of this while you go ahead and read the next sound effect.
There isn't one yet.
Hold on then.
Not there yet.
Hold on, I gotta show people what the crazy mountains look like. Nope.
You just searched mountains.
Sorry, I'm an idiot. Crazy mountains.
There we go.
Okay. And then we go to images. So they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting on this.
They are rather abrupt.
On that September day, Aaron separated from his two companions to scout a different area. The weather was clear, the mood was casual. An experienced outdoorsman with intimate knowledge of backcountry navigation, Aaron carried a radio, proper gear, and had years of wilderness experience. When he radioed his companions that evening, there was no panic in his voice, just mild annoyance at missing a turnoff. He would head towards their supply cache near Sunlight Lake, he told them, which was a perfectly reasonable plan. But Aaron Hedges would never arrive at that cache.
Sound effect. Wind intensifies. Thunder rolls in distance.
It's an experience here on this channel. It's for the whole experience. Join the Gump Club, by the way, for behind the scenes footage. We got to cut some of this out and leave it for behind the scenes. That's true. Oh, there'll be a lot to cut out. There'll be a whole hell of a lot to cut out. I'm really excited for you to read the next sound effect. Anyways, the mountains had other plans. Within 24 hours, a brutal, unreasonable snowstorm descended on the range, dumping 2 feet of snow and sending temperatures plummeting. The crazies were showing their mercurial nature, transforming the landscape into an alien whiteness that erased trails and disoriented even veteran hikers. When Aaron's friends reported him missing 3 days later, the scope of the search was unprecedented. Nearly 60 ground researchers, not researchers, dog teams, horses, and helicopters equipped with thermal imaging. They combed every drainage, ridge, and valley of the western slopes where Aaron had last been seen. But the mountains guarded their secret.
Sound effect. Boots crunching through snow. Labored breathing.
Keep it up. Imagine, if you will, a man. You can't keep it up. Imagine, if you will, a man alone in this savage storm. Perhaps disoriented, certainly cold, moving through a world transformed by whiteout conditions. What choices did Aaron make in those critical hours, and what unseen forces influenced his path? Because what happens next defies explanation.
Music shifts. More mysterious. Unnerving.
12 days into the search, the final puzzle piece emerged. Searchers found Aaron's boots, water pack, and the remnants of 2 fire attempts, but they weren't discovered where logic dictated that they should be. They were found on the eastern side of the mountains. Somehow, Aaron had crossed one of the most treacherous mountain ranges in Montana during a blizzard, navigating over peaks and through valleys that would challenge climbers in even ideal conditions. How the fuck's that possible? And more disturbingly, why would he abandon his boots on rocky terrain when bare feet would be shredded within hours? Not like you used to run on lava rock.
Yes, sir.
You used to have foot race.
Not anymore. I can't.
Can't.
I lost my good feet.
Your feet are too thin now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's office work. It's your fault.
Sometimes you'll have grass spurs in your feet and you won't even react though.
That's true.
Yeah. These little evil spurs that are in the grass down here in Tejas. So this sumbitch gets him in his foot and he'll just be like picking at his foot for a while and you'd be like, what's that?
Digging at it.
I scream and cry when I get him.
You also you messed up a very important little note there.
What'd I say?
You said it was the final puzzle piece that emerged. It was the first puzzle piece that emerged.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah.
The first puzzle piece that emerged, let's redo it. The first puzzle piece that emerged, just cut that back in or something. I don't know. We'll live edit it. It's not the final though, it is the first. Luckily I didn't read too much after.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
I heard you breathe or something though. I knew something was amiss. I knew something was amiss. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you got one more sentence to read.
Oh yeah. The search was scaled back. The mountains had won this round.
Sound effect. Time passing. Whoosh.
We have also let us know down below, because we're doing this for the first time. We want to have like a dramatic intro, a dramatic introduction that kind of goes around the story, and then we have an assload of data we're gonna comb through, and like the real kind of events and theories, and there's I said assload once already, a shitload, which is, after an assload of information that we wanna comb through and look through, that we can communicate about. But if you guys don't like that, then that's fine too. This is the first time we're doing this.
I think it should be acted out like a play.
We should live act it.
Yes.
I like that idea. That's really good. First, we have to find a mountain. 9 months later, the case took an even stranger turn. A Wyoming butcher exploring a ridge found Aaron's belongings scattering a bizarre arrangement across a quarter-mile circle of dense forest. His bow leaned carefully against one tree, his backpack, still full of gear, against another. His hunting license and orange vest arranged in an almost deliberate, precise way. These items weren't dumped in haste or scattered by wildlife. They appeared placed, intentionally displayed, as if Aaron Hedges was leaving messages that we cannot still decipher.
Music becomes more intense.
And then the final revelation, one that transformed the strange disappearance into something truly inexplicable. Almost 2 years after he vanished, a rancher discovered skeletal remains on private property near Melville. Dental records confirmed what seemed impossible. Aaron Hedges had somehow traversed 15 miles from his last known location, crossed the entire mountain range during a blizzard, abandoned his boots from miles from where his remains were found, and carefully arranged his belongings before succumbing to the elements in an area within sight of human habitation. I remember that being like one of the craziest things, that he succumbed within sight of somebody's house.
Yeah, like a hill overlooking a ranch, pretty much.
The official determination? Hypothermia and exposure. But those familiar with wilderness survival know this explanation falls catastrophically short of answering fundamental questions. How does a man travel 15 miles through one of America's most challenging mountain ranges during a snowstorm? How does he do so without boots across terrain that shreds even heavy-duty footwear? Why would he meticulously arrange his survival gear against trees rather than using it? And perhaps most perplexing, why would he end up just a half mile from where his carefully placed belongings were found, yet die within sight of civilization?
Music fades to an unsettling quiet.
You guys are just gonna have to imagine the music, by the way, I think. Yeah, because John's not putting that in there. Some point to the paradoxical behavior of advanced hypothermia, the burning sensation that causes victims to remove their clothing, the terminal burrowing that drives them to seek small spaces in their final moments. Apparently that's something people do when they die from hypothermia. They start acting really weird. They start burrowing.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'd go into a little hovel, little hole.
Little hole, like Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
in that one movie.
Sounds about right.
He climbed in that animal carcass. Remember that?
Hoth?
Was that Hoth?
Hoth.
He's on Hoth up on there?
Yep.
And then he had R2-D2 with him?
I don't think so.
Me neither. He had damn abominable snowman. What the fuck? Where am I? Some point, others suggest darker possibilities. Mainly, we won't say it yet. There's a lot of people, though, that suggest darker possibilities. Potentially Sasquatch, interdimensional creatures, things like that. I just said it.
That sounds like malarkey.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. Maybe, though. We don't know.
Who knows?
Others suggest darker possibilities, potentially conflicts within the hunting party he was in, disorientation from alcohol withdrawal, or even foul play. But there are those who look at the crazy mountains themselves, these isolated ancient sentinels that seem to, I don't like calling mountains sentinels.
Yeah.
Seems dumb.
That's twice now.
Yeah.
That's happened. I don't like that.
These isolated ancient sentinels that seem to exist partially outside of our reality, and wonder if there are forces at work we cannot begin to comprehend. The spirit world. It's opened up. All right, we're almost done with our intro. Thank God. Thank fuck. The wildlands of North America have claimed many a soul over the century, but few disappearances leave us with such bizarre evidence, with such geographical impossibilities, and such fundamental questions that remain unanswered. Aaron Hedges stepped into the crazy mountains and somehow stepped outside the bounds of what we consider possible. His body was found, but the truth of what happened during those final days remains as elusive as a shadow in the forest.
Sound effect? Wind through trees returns.
So, Aaron Hedges, a hunter, he never returned. He went out on a bow hunting escapade, I assume for elk,
Yeah.
probably, out there up there in the crazies.
Makes sense to me.
And he never returned. It was a routine week-long elk hunting expedition in Montana's crazy mountains. and he was accompanied by his two buddies, Greg Leitner from Idaho and Joe Depew from Bozeman. They started their journey at the Cottonwood Lake trailhead, approximately 20 miles north of Billings, and they set up camp near Campfire Lake. I remember even in our first video, we had like a little map.
Oh, yeah. They started over here. This is the lake, and then he went on down to the cache, but he missed it, I guess, and then he just kept going 15 more miles that way.
He went 15 miles in the wrong direction, which is just not good. We're supposed to go out there. Where are we going in December?
We're going to New Mexico.
Yeah. What's that place called?
I don't know. Pretty far away from the crazy stuff.
I know, yeah, but still elk hunting.
Yes, sir.
Scary and
public land.
Public land.
Yeah.
We're gonna die. We're gonna have to make another video about this, but with us. We should predict it.
I don't like that.
You don't want to prophesize our own death?
No, not at all.
On September 3rd, 2014, a 38-year-old man by the name of Aaron Joseph Hedges of Bozeman set out on what should have been a routine week-long elk hunting expedition in Montana's Crazy Mountains. The experienced bow hunter was accompanied by two friends, Buddy Greg from Idaho and Buddy Joe from Bozeman, Montana. The trio began their journey at the Cottonwood Lake trailhead approximately 20 miles north of Billings, and they set up camp near Campfire Lake.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. To be honest, fucking chime in there, add a little extra to it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, so far, so fucking good.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing that.
Me too.
I don't have any friends named Greg, though. Not yet.
You will by December.
By December, we need to meet a Greg from Idaho.
Joe.
And a Joe. The trip seemed unremarkable until September 7th when Aaron separated from his companions via radio. He informed them that he had missed a turnoff back to their camp and would be heading north towards a supply cache that they had established near Sunlight Lake from a previous year's hunt. In his final communication, he told his friends he probably wouldn't make it back to camp that night because he wasn't sure of the exact location. This would be the last time anybody heard from Aaron Hedges.
Now, I think a key part that is missing from here is like, why was he headed to the cache? If you remember from 2019, one of their horses, they have like pack mules with them, and it tripped, and his sleeping bag fell down the mountain. He lost a lot of his personal gear.
Well, I'm glad you know about this. Well, shit.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Unless I just made all that up.
It'd be funny if you did. It'd be funny if you did fucking spreading misinformation. I mean, that wouldn't be funny, or maybe it would. Comment down below. I don't know. Fuck. This would be the last thing we heard from Aaron Hedges. Curiously, his disappearance wasn't reported to authorities until September 10th, 3 days after his last radio contact. And by then, the mountains had been hit with an early, severe snowstorm, which dropped 2 feet of snow. Unprecedented, I feel like. That's just like ridiculous. 2 feet of snow
in September.
just squirting out in September? That's fucking crazy, dude.
That's never happened anywhere that I've lived, ever.
In September?
Yes.
I've never seen snow before October.
Yeah.
And I think one time snow came in October in Virginia, and it was just like it was a light dusting.
Aaron Joseph Hedges was born on August 16th, 1976, making him 38 years old when he disappeared. He lived in Bozeman, Montana, with his wife Christine, who would ultimately report him missing. Unlike many missing persons cases that garner national attention, Aaron's life before his disappearance appeared remarkably ordinary, perhaps part of why his case hasn't received widespread coverage outside of Montana.
Except for YouTube. It's everywhere on YouTube.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah, it's got squirted everywhere.
Back in 2014, didn't hear about it.
Yeah, nobody. It was pre-411.
Yeah.
Pre-missing persons being like a massive trend online. Yeah.
We bouncing back and forth on
Yeah, what do you think?
now, or-
What do y'all think about that? Maybe let's try that for this part.
Let's try
Let's
that.
just alternate back and forth. Yeah. We sound similar enough.
Yeah.
People, do you think we're brothers? Or do you think we're not even related? Yeah, we are. That hurt me saying that.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
That hurt me
I
bad.
jump over that monkey.
We share a grandmother
Yes.
and a
And
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yeah, that's true.
Two.
Dude,
Two people.
2 grandparents who were awesome. Despite extensive research into public records, specific details about Aaron's occupation, education, and family structure remain limited. Good. What is clear is his passion for hunting, particularly bow hunting. He was described as a well-regarded hunter, which suggests respect amongst his peers for his skills and knowledge.
Aaron's comfort in the outdoors is evident from his hunting history. The fact that he and his friends had established a supply cache from a previous year's hunt demonstrates his experience with multi-day backcountry expeditions. His willingness to venture alone through challenging mountain terrain speaks to his self-reliance and confidence in his wilderness abilities. That is a great point. Them having a cache in there is like, that doesn't make sense in my head.
High level. Yeah. I would never do that.
That's like the only place that they hunt?
I would never do that.
Yeah, that also seems illegal.
It does seem. Storing your shit in public land?
Yeah.
I tell you who does it, who we're going hunting with.
That's a good point.
Used to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal.
Is that common?
Yeah, storing any backcountry woodsman watching this video, let us know. The Freemans, they used to do that though. They would take their mules up and they had caches up there.
Yeah.
Like buried sea cans and drums, not sea cans.
That would take a lot.
That would be crazy to get a sea can in the mountains and bury it.
Yeah.
Would
Steve
be cool,
Ranella,
though.
down below. Comment down below.
Steve Ranella, I know you're watching this, Steve Ranella. Comment down below. We love your cookbook. Clint got it for me for Christmas 3 years ago. 4 years ago. 3 years ago?
Something like that.
It doesn't matter. I love it though. There's limited information that exists about Aaron's personality or relationships beyond his immediate hunting circle and what we know. He had a fairly private life, but you know, he was definitely safety conscious enough to make radio contact. They had the cache. They were very good and well aware of what they were doing.
Yes.
Regardless of what any theories were. There's some theories that he may have struggled with alcohol at some point in his life, and that could have led to something in regard to his disappearance, but I don't know anything about that, and we're gonna find out about that, I guess. But the lion's share of evidence is that he knew what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
More so than anybody that I know in real life, except for maybe Lane and the Freemans, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't fucking put a damn cache up in the mountains. Too much fucking work out there, I tell you what, some bitch.
The search begins, a race against time and terrain.
Let's just alternate sentences.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and read the
Let's
next
try
one.
that.
When Christine Hedges reported her husband missing on September 10th, 2014, authorities from Park County and Sweetgrass County quickly mobilized what would become one of the most extensive search operations in the region's recent history. Run-on sentence. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was a while.
That was a long paragraph length.
The initial search began on September 11th, rest in peace, with 2 horse teams dispatched. One searching from Cottonwood Trailhead up Trespass Creek Trail, and another from Sunlight Road up Sunlight Trail. Detectives attempted to ping Hedges' cell phone, but were unsuccessful.
As the search expanded, resources grew exponentially. At its peak, the operation involved 59 ground searchers combing the rugged terrain like that scene in Spaceballs, 20 dog teams attempting to track Aaron's scent, 7 horse teams covering more extensive ground, and military and civilian helicopters equipped with infrared and night vision technology. A specialized high elevation team trained for mountain terrain as well. So a bunch of Aaron Hedges
Yeah.
they had out there looking for him.
Yeah, what exactly is a specialized high elevation team?
I don't know.
From who? Whose team?
Tall people. Really tall people,
That's
I
a
bet.
great new phrase for tall people.
High elevation
Yeah.
individual. You're a high elevation individual, you tall fucks out there. Take the L. You're gonna die young, just so you know, in case you're aware, if you weren't aware, maybe. Short people live longer on average. That's why women live longer on average, because they're on average shorter. And they bleed. Which is apparently good for you, I don't know, I remember reading something about that.
Makes sense.
Hormesis. Hormesis. Go ahead, Clint.
The Crazy Mountains presented extraordinary challenges to searchers.
Oh, we're doing sentence by sentence? As Sweetgrass Search and Rescue Coordinator Ellen Roenberg described, we dealt with cliff faces, rock slides, heavy undergrowth, heavy timber, and about the only way you can get through that almost in some spots is a game trail.
Adding to these difficulties were the early winter storms that had deposited approximately 2 feet of snow, obscuring potential tracks and evidence while increasing the risk of hypothermia for both the missing hunter and searchers themselves.
It's got to be a ridiculous balance when you're looking for somebody and you're in the fucking mountains. Because people only go on expeditions there. It's not like you're looking for somebody in like a city or something. Like it's not a silver alert when an old folk goes missing and everybody's phone goes, and you just start, combing the horizon. You look for an old person walking down the road, because that's where old people go.
Yeah.
Easy to find them. Easy to find old people. Amber alerts, they're really sad because those are people getting kidnapped usually. Yeah. Them just children. So it's got to be tough looking for people when it's real hard to look for them in the fucking mountains.
That makes sense to me.
Going on an expedition.
Yeah.
Because like if it's so bad and it's so bad, you're like the king of the fucking the people who are searching. Yeah. You're that leader, whoever's taking on the leadership role. They're like, we're probably gonna lose people looking for this guy. Just like making that distinction's got to be difficult.
Yeah, and like the whole reason he's there is because people don't go there.
It's an expedition.
That's why the animals are there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. That is why the animals are there, and that's why I ain't going there. I go there one day.
One of these days.
I'm not gonna go
Do
there.
I read the bold again and then you do the next sentence, or how are we doing this?
Where are we at?
The first clues, unexpected locations, and puzzling finds.
Despite the extensive search, the first significant discoveries were perplexing. Searchers found a pair of boots, a water backpack, and evidence of 2 fire attempts before, believed to belong to Hedges. I just threw in before there randomly. It's kind of weird. And this is what I said earlier was the first evidence, which it wasn't at all. But surprisingly, these items were discovered on the eastern side of the mountains, opposite of where Hedges was last reported. It would be nice to see a map of this.
Yes.
So like, let's picture it. Big map, mountains.
Yep.
All right, let's say this is east and this is west.
Okay.
Okay. So he's supposed to be over here. He's 15 miles this way.
Yes.
Just so you can imagine, keep up with us here. And then he walked and there's like these little trailheads and it's all, where people are, it is an expedition, it is off the beaten path, it is fucking hard to get to, but it's still named trails, campgrounds. People do go there, but when you throw in the snowstorm and the going 15 miles east of where you're supposed to go, off the beaten path, that's when it becomes a missing 411 story.
This first discovery raised immediate questions. Why would Hedges abandon his boots in rocky terrain? How could he navigate the sharp rocks without proper footwear? Had he been carrying a second pair of shoes not mentioned in his equipment list? I mean, I guess so, but I wouldn't. But I'm also not experienced hunter Aaron Hedges.
Yeah, I feel it's weird reading this because this guy is so obviously an expert and a trained, experienced dude. It just does it makes sense, I guess. Just he made a mistake, whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking big snowstorm, make an amateur out of anybody.
Yeah, the 2 fire attempts, that makes sense. Fresh snow, wet, harder to make fire. But the just like leaving your boots in all that.
That's weird.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that seems odd.
I ain't got an explanation for that one.
I mean, they searched for 12 days. They had minimal findings, and eventually the Park and Sweetgrass County officials decided that they were scaling back efforts on September 23rd, 2014. And officials cited the high level of technology already employed and the risk to searchers as reasons for reducing the search, which is what we discussed. So yeah, they gave up. They tried their best. They deployed technology, infrared technology,
High levels of technology.
alien shit, fucking orbs and Tic Tacs. All right, they didn't do that.
The mysterious discoveries continue.
Ah!
On June 19th, 2015, more than 9 months after Hedges' disappearance, the case took another unexpected turn. How in the
Good luck.
shit do you say that guy's last name?
Here, I'll read it and then you just keep going as if you read it. Roger Beslanovich.
Do that one more time.
Roger Beslanovich.
A butcher from Powell, Wyoming, made a significant discovery while checking out a view from a ridge about 30 to 40 miles north of Big Timber. Where's that at? Where's Big Timber at?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Beslanovich found several items belonging to Hedges scattered in a quarter-mile circle in a heavily timbered area. A bow propped against a tree, a backpack full of gear sitting against another tree, clothes against a third tree, many chewed by rodents, and a hunting license with Hedges' name on it. And on top of that, an orange hunting vest.
I get so that that throws out the whole he might have had a second pair of shoes thing, I guess. Because he didn't. Well, at least he didn't have any there.
Yeah.
These items were found on private property several miles outside the original search area, and on the opposite side of the mountain from where Hedges was last seen. Perhaps most puzzling was the apparently deliberate placement of items, the backpack and bow leaning against trees rather than lying scattered as might be expected if they had been dropped haphazardly.
It's like if you're freaking out
Yeah.
or whatever, he's just like shedding his stuff and setting it down and placing it
It seems weird that the bow sat there for 9 months and didn't fall from being leaned against a tree.
Don't do that face, it scares me.
This one better? Not the damn triangle face!
After this information was discovered, after these items were found, they had a grid search in the area the following day, but no additional evidence was found at that time. But the case reached its final conclusion on August 5th, 2016, another year later, when a rancher found skeletal remains on private land west of Melville, which is half a mile from where Hedges' bow and backpack had been discovered the previous year. The remains were just outside the 2015 search area, and a cell phone was found with him. So just outside where they searched.
Yeah.
So he just dropped all the stuff and then just kept on walking.
Yeah. This is twice now that the search area wasn't quite large enough.
Here's your sign. Here, Jeff Foxworthy'd say, here's your sign. Was that Jeff Foxworthy or was that Bill Engvall? They used to say that.
Oh.
You remember what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't
Jeff
remember
Foxworthy,
that.
Bill Engvall, and Larry the Cable Guy. Baby, you starting pygmies down there in New Guinea.
On August 9th, 2016, Sweetgrass County officials announced that dental records had confirmed the remains were those of Aaron Joseph Hedges. Under Sheriff Alan Ronberg?
Yeah, Alan Ronberg.
Ronberg. Under Sheriff Alan Ronberg stated that initial indications suggest Hedges died of hypothermia and exposure. Exposure to what?
Exactly, yeah.
The elements.
Yeah, the elements, yeah. No, it was like a slight kind of Bigfoot,
Yeah.
hairy fist. But then no, it's the elements, unfortunately. The location of the remains created more questions than answers because they were found approximately 15 miles from where Hedges was last seen, 6 miles from where his boots were found, and half a mile from where his bow and backpack were discovered. So that literally answers a lot of our questions.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
We should have just kept reading.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. To be honest. Also, next time, I'm gonna shorten the intro by a lot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Or maybe even not even do one.
But it was fun.
It was fun with the sound effects. That's true.
Whooshing. Time whoosh.
Music swells. Music swells.
Yeah, so, man, 15 miles from where he was last seen. And then he walked 6 miles with no boots on. In the
Unbelievable.
crazies. Those mountains seem kind of rough, gonna be honest.
Yeah, if you look at the name, it is pretty crazy. You want to hit that next part? Perhaps most startling.
Oh, yeah, I can read that. Perhaps most startling was that Hedges' remains were found in an area within sight of a ranch and road, not deep in the backcountry where one might expect a lost hunter to perish.
That fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
That is fucking terrible. I mean, horrible.
Yeah, but like, what's he doing up there? He can see the ranch, go down to the ranch.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that, well, the official determination by the officials in the counties, Sweetgrass County, whatever the fuck it was, they said he died of hypothermia and exposure. And apparently, you can become very disoriented.
Yes.
When those things happen
Yes,
to
you
you. You can your brain stops working properly, and you just don't know. You ain't making sense. People will be like, "Go down there." There's a lot of theories, though. The hypothermia exposure theory is the most plausible, but we've got some fucking wild ones here. We've got some absolute mind-boggling theories. There's the alcohol withdrawal theory, the trespassing and poaching theory, the companion conflict theory, and the missing 411 theory. One theory that appears to have gained traction among some investigators suggests Aaron Hedges was a recovering alcoholic who may have been experiencing withdrawal symptoms during his hunting trip. According to a nurse consulted by the Missing Enigma YouTube channel, when I worked on the detox unit, the alcoholics always scared me because they would suddenly crash. Sometimes their pulses would go into the 200s. If Aaron had that happen, he could have eventually suffered a cardiac event that killed him. Medical literature suggests chronic alcoholics fare worse in inclement weather, as noted in the book Hypothermia, Frostbite, and Other Cold Injuries. Withdrawal symptoms could have caused disorientation, hallucinations, or impaired cognitive function that led Hedges to making poor decisions in the wilderness. Sheriff Alan Ronberg reportedly told the Missing Enigma, "In a nutshell, Aaron was doomed after the first half mile of the trip. There were so many mistakes and poor decisions made by everyone involved, each miscalculation accumulated and compounded at the end result." Interesting.
I think that the first half mile that he's referring to is like what I was saying with the mule losing his bag.
Just mistakes.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, at that point, you just turn around and go home because your backpack fell down the mountain.
Yeah, it's over. No, go to the cache.
Yeah, I got a cache in the woods. It's all right. There's another one.
I got another backpack, another cache in the woods.
Yeah.
It's fucking full of, it's like Tarkov. It's full of loot. Yeah, to me that seems like bullshit.
Yeah.
The alcohol theory. I feel like it's more so just man confident. Oh, challenge. Challenge.
Yeah, and like especially you're with your buddies. It's like maybe if he was by himself, he would have gave up. But it's like we planned so much to come out here, and there is, I guess, that I don't know how that hunt exactly how it works, but with a lot of elk hunts being like lotteries, and it's like there's so much prep leading you up to that point, and then you just don't want to give up now that you lost your bag. It's like, we know we have another one, it'll be all right. And then you walk 15 miles
and then die. Yeah, I don't know. That seems kind of like a rude speculative theory. The exposure one, hypothermia, makes way more sense to me.
Yes.
It's just like you're confident, you're challenging yourself, you're hunting, you're out there to challenge yourself anyways. Like that's what an elk hunt is.
Yes.
If you wanted an easy hunt, you'd fucking sit in a blind in Texas with us and shoot a deer or something with a bow.
Yeah.
But if you're interested in being challenged and like genuinely, fucking experiencing the spirit of the wild, this just makes total sense. You don't have to be a fucking alcoholic to explain disorientation. Just pushing yourself beyond your physical limitations, and then 2 feet of snow. It's over. It's over, brother. Trespassing poaching theory.
Several sources indicate that Aaron and his hunting companions may have been engaged in illegal hunting activities.
Allegedly.
Reports suggest the group may have been hunting on private property without permission. According to forum discussions, the group shot a bull on private and didn't want to tell that part until later, for which they were cited.
This is all like forums and like Reddit and just like deep internet stuff.
This theory suggests that avoiding detection for poaching might explain why Hedges was separated from the group and why his companions delayed reporting him missing. Hedges may have been attempting to hide from property owners, explaining why his belongings were found in unusual locations.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. Sounds like they're stretching again to just try to blame it on him and just disparage the good Hedges name.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has a good name. I have no idea.
I mean, I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
Some sources suggest tension within the hunting party could have also contributed to the situation, More forum posts claim Hedges has gotten into an argument with his two buddies and they didn't want to deal with him. That's a quote. This theory suggests that the companion's apparent lack of urgency in reporting him missing may have stemmed from personal conflict, which that does hold water a little bit, because it's like, if you were just, I heard from you on the radio and then it snowed a lot, I'd be worried as fuck. Mm-hmm. I would be so worried. So, that one makes sense. It's like, I wouldn't just wait a couple days and be like, oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that part also, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like you'd think you'd check in first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. And not wait 3 days to
let it fly landed right on your face. That was crazy.
Yeah, I could have ate that.
You've got good vibes. You could have eaten it. You should have.
I could have.
That would have been an epic moment. That would have been the most fucking epic moment ever.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. You'd think the buddies would just immediately, which, I mean, I guess they also think that he's experienced, he knows what he's doing. We've been out here plenty. So maybe that's why they didn't raise any suspicion when he was gone for such a long time. But
yeah, or maybe it had happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously doing this so much to where it's like, oh, he's fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that's not even malicious, and I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Just because I wouldn't do that doesn't mean most people wouldn't. But, some people speculate that Hedges voluntarily separated from the group due to disagreements, which, I don't know. I feel like it makes just more sense. These are old burly mountain men.
Yeah.
Burly sumbitches with caches in the woods in the fucking mountains. And then they're just hunting and just got a little too carried away and died. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah. They don't seem like ones for drama.
They ain't part of the drama cult. All right, they're not part of the drama cult. Okay, guys. They're probably all married. So obviously this is part of the massive missing 411 web. Anybody who ever goes missing, David Paulides, the mastermind behind missing people, the god amongst missing people, he will look into it, and he highlighted several aspects in regard to the Aaron Hedges case that he finds unusual. One, the seemingly impossible distances Hedges would have had to travel, which to me, that makes sense. It does seem impossible, but I know people who could do it.
Yeah.
Like a couple people. Mm-hmm. Enough people to where it doesn't even seem that impossible. For some random fucking guy off the street, no.
Yeah,
but
like a 15-mile hike really isn't. It's not that wild.
Mm-hmm. What about without proper footwear?
Without proper footwear, a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, that's a little bit worse. That's also a highlight from David Paulides. Absence of a clear explanation on how he could travel 15 miles in snow conditions without proper footwear the whole way. I mean, that one, I don't know. I just wouldn't know.
Yeah, so 6 miles without footwear?
Just totally barefoot.
Yeah.
Yep. And then 15 miles total without his footwear situation in check. Because his whole journey, obviously.
Yeah.
Paulides has described the Hedges case as one he took several weeks to wrap his mind around, and it left him dumbfounded. Critics of Paulides' presentation of the case, the Missing Enigma YouTube channel claims Paulides omitted critical information about Hedges' alleged alcoholism and the circumstances surrounding the hunting trip. Critics also argue Paulides exaggerated distances and timelines to make the case seem more mysterious than it was, which is a running theme on the 411 stuff, it seems like. But yeah, because like the 15 miles thing, that's a quote from David Paulides, and it's like 6 miles without shoes.
Yes.
So, yeah. Fair, I don't know. I don't fucking know. And then he obviously connects it to a bunch of other missing persons. There's a pattern in the Rocky Mountains. There's a person who went missing in 2004, Bart Schleier. He was an experienced 49-year-old outdoorsman and wildlife researcher who disappeared in the Yukon Territory, and despite extensive searches, only partial remains were found. His camp was undisturbed. He had no signs of struggle or animal attack. 2018, Jordan Grider, a 29-year-old, disappeared in northern Minnesota's Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. His remains were found in mysterious circumstances, and people questioned how he ended up where he was found. And there was a Michigan man in the Crazy Mountains in 2018 as well. A volunteer with the Rocky Mountains Goat Alliance went missing while counting goats in the Crazy Mountains in the same range as Hedges. The common elements that were shared between the cases were experienced outdoors people disappearing in remote terrain. Their remains were found in unexpected, bizarre, illogical locations, and the searches were challenging due to the difficult terrain. I don't know, man. I feel like it makes sense. It's just a really unforgiving mountain range. It's called the fucking Crazy Mountains in the Rocky Mountains. Mm-hmm. Have you ever just seen it? It looks terrifying.
They're pretty jagged and scary.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it. I feel like if I had to go up in there, I'd die, for sure. If I was underprepared.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how prepared or an experience of an outdoorsman you are. Sometimes you're not good. Sometimes you fuck up and make a mistake.
Why did his hunting companions wait 3 days to report him missing?
I'm not sure.
How did Hedges manage to travel 15 miles through extraordinary difficult terrain during a snowstorm?
I won't just answer that one dismissively. That is crazy. The first one too, that's very odd.
Yeah.
Waiting 3 days to report your friend missing, your companion, your bro.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the outliers here.
For sure. 15 miles though? That's I feel like that's possible.
Yeah.
The extreme terrain.
Yeah, the 15 miles when he was wearing his boots at least, that set of the miles, that's not that wild.
Yeah. But the 6 without boots is crazy.
Yeah.
Why would he remove his boots in an area with sharp, rocky terrain? Probably because he was disoriented and really, he was just dying. I mean,
yeah.
There you go.
Makes sense to me.
If he had a second pair of shoes, why weren't they mentioned in his equipment list or found with his remains? Because he didn't. He just was barefoot.
Yeah.
He was just delusional.
I don't think he had a second pair of shoes.
Who the fuck brings a second pair of shoes? Unless they're Crocs and they're for comfort.
Yeah. That wouldn't make sense.
Imagine they found him in Crocs. No, that's not funny. I shouldn't joke about that. Crocs are ugly. Why were his belongings arranged in what appeared to be a deliberate manner rather than scattered randomly?
Well,
that one's weird.
I can't make sense of that one because they were there for 9 months after, and they were still just perfectly. I feel like if you leave stuff outside, it just blows around and moves.
Yeah, I mean, I have tables outside that just end up in my yard.
Uh-huh.
And it's just windy. It's just because it's fucking windy. It's got to be windy in the Crazy Mountains.
How do we know it's his stuff?
Because it had his hunting license, his name.
You have an answer for everything, don't you?
No. How did he survive long enough to travel such distances in harsh conditions? That's like the big question, right? That's the big question. How's that possible? Do you think, what is the likelihood that it is like some kind of entity or demon or creature? Close to zero?
Little to none.
You think close to zero?
Yeah.
You're not picking up any psychic energy.
Not on this one now.
Me neither. This one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Man went into woods, got lost in woods, died in woods.
The ones that are weird are the little kid ones.
Yeah.
Where it's just like little kid found 60 miles away and he's just like fine.
Yeah.
But his skin's white. You know? He just got whitened or whatever. I think I might be making that one up. But anyways, in conclusion, the disappearance and death of Aaron Hernandez, he killed himself in prison, he was a murderer. The disappearance and death of Aaron Hedges embodies the thin line between the explainable wilderness tragedies and a genuinely mysterious circumstance. While the official explanation of hypothermia and exposure is medically plausible and consistent with the evidence, the geographical impossibilities of his final journey continue to raise questions among those who study the case. Not us, though. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense.
Perhaps the most compelling aspect is the distance and direction that Hedges traveled, 15 miles from his last known location, crossing from the western to eastern side of the mountain range in severe winter conditions without proper footwear for at least part of that journey. This feat would be challenging for a fully equipped, uninjured hiker in good weather, and for a potentially disoriented man in a snowstorm without boots, it seems nearly impossible. When you put it like that, it does. Maybe he passed through a portal. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a portal.
A portal.
Yeah, he was a Oblivion plane. He went up to the top.
He got a
grabbed
sigil
the little
stone.
sigil stone, and it popped him back out. He was somewhere else.
And he's the hero of Cyrodiil. The hero of Kvatch.
Kvatch.
He's the fucking hero of Kvatch. You want to read the last one?
The Aaron Hedges case reminds us that nature remains one of humanity's most formidable adversaries. Whether his fate was sealed by a simple exposure, complicated by alcohol withdrawal, influenced by interpersonal conflict, or involved elements yet unexplained, one thing is certain: the Crazy Mountains claimed another victim, leaving behind more questions than answers. Questions that may never be fully resolved.
No! I feel like it's resolved.
Yeah, I feel like it's resolved.
Yeah, I feel like it's resolved. It's hypothermia and it's just exposure and it's fucked up and it's sad. May God rest his soul. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Too Late Show. Spooky Skeletons. Press the like button if you want to see more of this content. There's going to be a lot for the Gump Club for that one, probably.
Yeah.
A little bit of chunks and whatnot. Let us know what you want to see us talk about next. This is going to be a weekly show, if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And literally any ideas you've got, we'll fucking talk about it and make fools of ourselves. I'm more than happy to do that. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things in my entire world, and I would love to be able to do it with my friend, cousin, and thinker. Hit him with it.
Chief Thinker.
Point at him. I like it when you point at him. And you point at him on screen and he just looks so happy. Look at that guy, he's so happy. Anyways, thanks for watching.
My.
Sponsored in part by Sour Boys, who invites you to join in on another delectably sour year of 52 weeks, 52 flavors. Sour Boys, flavors the size of Texas. You're watching GBN. It's all here.